ब्रह्मचर्यव्रती दंडी सर्ववेदांत पंडित श्रीमद्विवेकयोगी मां प्रचोदयतु सर्वदा. In the previous talk, we learned a very great lesson which should be put into practice in our lives, that we help ourselves and not the world. So let us be a little selfish there, that we shall go on doing things because it will come and create in us some small speck of greatness, happiness, peace. So that is what we learnt in the last talk. Today there is another thought which Swamiji puts in, that is, each is great in his own place. Each is great in his own place. What does it mean? See, when we look around, we find different types of work, isn't it? Starting from a scavenger up to the head of a nation. There are any number of works, activities and duties which people are all the time committing. But all of them are good. All of them can be converted into karma yogas. All of them can take us to the revelation of truth. So, to clarify that thought, sometimes we have the habit of judging one by the work which he or she does. Sometimes we will say, oh, he is after all a sweeper. He is after all a something very low, we can say. Or we will say, oh, he is a judge. He is a politician. So automatically in our mind there is some ups and downs when we go on comparing these people who work around us. Is it correct? It cannot be correct, because it is not the outward work which really matters, but as we have seen in the previous class, it is the impression, the thought, the sentiment with which we are doing that work. So, even a small work can be made into a great work. When I think of this, the first thing which comes to my mind is always how the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, converted a small piece of work into a great national yajna. I don't know how many of my listeners would remember the salt satyagraha. What did Swamiji do? He understood there is a great injustice done to Indians by asking us to pay a duty on salt, something like that. I was too small a child to get the full implications of it at that time. But then, what did he do? He walked with a lot of volunteers into the seashore, took a handful of seawater, allowed it to dry up into salt, and thus challenged the British. We used to say in our childhood days, British Empire where the sun doesn't set. That was the expansiveness of the British. And this frail little man, taking a handful of seawater in his hand, converting it into salt, challenged that big nation. See, it is a God's gift. God has given us as a gift this salt water. It's all right. One takes the effort to make salt out of it and earn some money of it, it's all right. But to charge a tax on that, and thus catch the poor man, make him still poorer. That was something which Gandhiji could not stand at all. And thus, I always remember, a small act was transformed into a national yajna, and it shook the foundations of the British Empire. See? Small action. So, that is how it is not the action that is important, but the greatness of thoughts and sentiments which you bring into the action that make it really great and wholesome. So Swamiji devotes a whole chapter in his Karma Yoga treatise. Each is great in his own place, just to make us understand that we should not go on judging people by the work which they do, but by the way they do the work. So he gives a scientific explanation for it, because in the universe we find, according to our Indian knowledge, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. 3 types of works, 3 types of working, 3 types of mental faculties. So one is Sattva, only good will come out of it, nothing else. There are people like that who can never do any bad works. Probably that comes into the category of our dharma. Then there are people who are so excited they will do a lot of work on their own, but sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may not be bad, it may be bad. Then there is one group of people, tamas. Either they will do no work, they will be full of inertia, or they may do work which will bring harm to others. So these 3, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, are prevalent in the universe. It is there in each one of us, in our thoughts, in our deeds, in our actions, everywhere we can find this. And it should be our effort to bring it more and more towards, from Tamas to Rajas, from Rajas to Sattva. So when it comes to Sat, it will be of uniform goodness, universal goodness. So in this connection, to make us understand how people differ looking at things, he recites an interesting story. The story is, a guru and shishya went into a kingdom. So this guru was telling the student, disciple, about this particular, each is great in his own place. But the disciple couldn't grasp it properly. So he said, all right, we will take some good practical example. And he took the student to a kingdom. There, it was a time of the Swayamvara of the princess. Swayamvara means where the girls were choosing their own grooms. So all paraphernalia, everything was there ready near the palace. So this guru told, let us also go and watch the fun of Swayamvara. So when they went there, there was another sannyasi there, a very handsome young man, very attractive, probably like our own Swamiji. Which girl would not have been attracted to him, isn't it? So they watched the sannyasi. Sannyasi also were eagerly watching the Swayamvara. And lo, what happened? The girl rejected all her other suitors and put the garland on the sannyasi. Sannyasi got so angry, he threw away the garland and walked out. And the girl said, I will marry only you, and followed him. Then this master and disciple said, let us see the fun. Let us see the whole story fully. So they went with him. He went into a forest. This girl also followed. She couldn't trace him. After some time, it became very dark. That man disappeared deep into the forest. He could not see. So that man was a sannyasi. He had taken the vows of sannyasi, and he was not bothered whether he is going to get a girl and a whole kingdom. The king has announced the girl comes with the whole kingdom because I don't have any son. So he rejected everything and went into the forest and disappeared. And now this girl is left with these two, guru and disciple. It was getting dark. Then they consoled the girl and then said, "Look dear, it is very dark now, we can't go back to the kingdom. We will protect you. You take rest here along with us." So the girl and these two rested under a tree. And it was getting dark, it was evening, and all the three were very hungry. There were a bird couple on the tree with their 2-3 birdlings in that. So these birds were watching. Oh, look, the male bird was telling to the female, "Look, we have got some guests today. See these 3 people? They have not eaten anything. They must be very hungry. What can we do to help them?" So he thought for some time, then he flew away, brought a piece of wood piece with fire on it. And he put it there. He brought some other sticks and some dry leaves and created a fire there. Then he told his wife, "Look, I'm going to jump in the fire and kill myself so that our guests can have something to eat." And saying this, the bird jumped onto the fire and burnt itself. Seeing that, the mother bird, "Oh, it won't be enough. Just one small bird's flesh will not be enough for our guests. So what shall I do?" She also jumped into the fire and killed herself, burned herself. So the 3 little birdlings, they also thought, "Our parents have sacrificed themselves for the guests. And what shall we do? We also should do the same thing." And they also jumped into the fire. So the father bird, the mother bird, the baby birds, they all wanted to do the good action of feeding these guests, and they killed themselves. Amazed at what they saw, the 3 people could not, of course, eat the birds. They passed the night without food, and in the morning the king and the sannyasin showed the princess the way, and she went back to her palace. Then the sannyasin said to the king, the disciple was a king, "King, you have seen that each is great in his own place. If you want to live in the world, live like those birds, ready at any moment to sacrifice yourself for others. If you want to renounce the world, be like the young man to whom the most beautiful woman and a kingdom were nothing. If you want to be a householder, hold your life as a sacrifice for the welfare of the others. And if you choose the life of renunciation, do not look at the beauty, money and power." Then Swamiji concludes that chapter, "Each is great in his own place, but the duty of one is not the duty of the other."